All right, diving into the mind of Jeff Bezos today, you guys sent in this awesome interview he did with Lex Fridman, and wow, what a treasure trove.
It is, isn't it? It's really remarkable.
You're talking everything from a Texas ranch to humanity's future in space.
Really gets you thinking.
We'll try to extract the core of his thinking on space exploration, invention, and that famous day one philosophy of his,
It's just fun.
all in a way that's insightful and memorable and hopefully even fun. Let's start at the beginning. Young Jeff on his grandfather's ranch in Texas.
Okay. Yeah.
Imagine him fixing a D6 bulldozer
Wow.
using parts he ordered through the mail. Talk about hands-on learning.
That's pretty impressive.
Oh, and get this. Every day at 1:00 p.m. sharp, they'd stop everything to watch Days of Our Lives.
No way. That's a great image.
The future rocket scientist glued to a soap opera with his grandpa.
It says a lot about his upbringing, a mix of practicality and simple pleasures.
And it's on that ranch that Bezos learned almost any problem can be solved with enough persistence. He even said, quote, use the word impossible with great caution.
Hmm.
Like those early days, fixing windmills and vaccinating cattle were training for his vision of space exploration.
It's really a striking connection. Bezos sees problem solving as a basic human ability,
Right.
and he applies that to massive challenges like expanding humanity into space.
Exactly. And when Bezos talks about expanding into space, he doesn't just mean a few astronauts on Mars.
Yeah, definitely not.
He's thinking bigger, like
Yeah.
1 trillion people living in giant rotating space stations all over the solar system.
These are the O'Neill colonies, massive habitats, right?
Exactly. The brainchild of physicist Gerard O'Neill. Controlled environment, even artificial gravity.
Yeah, like giant self-sustaining cities in space.
Bezos believes these space stations have advantages over trying to settle on planets.
That's interesting. How so?
You can engineer gravity through rotation, have total control over the environment. Plus, you can position them strategically anywhere in the solar system.
So it's about building habitats perfectly suited to human life.
Precisely. So, while some folks dream of boots on Mars, Bezos sees us living in these incredible space cities, orbiting Earth, venturing further out.
It challenges our usual ideas about space exploration.
Definitely pushes us to think bigger and bolder. Now, his path to space wasn't a straight line.
Oh.
Early on, he considered a career in physics. But then there was this brilliant classmate, Yosanta, from Sri Lanka.
I see.
Bezos tells this story about Yosanta effortlessly solving a complex physics problem, and it made him rethink things.
I can see why. It shows a lot of self-awareness, realizing your strengths might lie elsewhere.
Exactly. So instead of academia, he embraced being an inventor.
Interesting.
He describes it as wandering through high-dimensional problem spaces,
That's an interesting way to put it.
searching for those truly creative solutions.
It challenges the idea of problem-solving being linear. It's about exploration.
Absolutely. And it's not a solo journey for him. He thrives on collaboration,
That makes sense.
bouncing ideas off others, nurturing those first sparks of innovation.
The collaborative environment is so key.
He says it's crucial to say, there's something there when an idea first emerges, to encourage creativity.
Creating a space where people feel safe sharing ideas, even if they're not fully formed.
Exactly. Bezos even compares invention to the invention of the plow,
Kaplow. Okay.
a simple tool that completely revolutionized agriculture.
I see. So finding better ways to do things, ultimately making life better for everyone.
Precisely. Speaking of innovation, let's talk New Glenn.
Blue Origin's heavy lift launch vehicle.
This thing is massive, 2 stages, powered by 7 BE-4 engines,
Those are powerful engines.
each one generating a mind-blowing 550,000 pounds of thrust. And Bezos explains why the rockets are so big. He says rockets love to be big.
There must be some advantages.
Greater efficiency in all sorts of ways, from the turbopumps to the ratio of mass.
Ah.
But he's also upfront about the challenges of building something this colossal. Imagine building something taller than the Statue of Liberty that can also handle launch and re-entry.
That's a daunting engineering challenge.
A monumental civil engineering project. Meticulous planning, precision engineering, advanced manufacturing.
What's interesting is how he connects this grand vision of space exploration to the intricacies of manufacturing.
Oh, absolutely. He talks about using materials like aluminum, lithium, and advanced welding techniques to ensure the rocket structure can withstand the stress.
It's fascinating to hear him describe the process in detail.
And another cool detail, the first stage of New Glenn is designed to be reusable. Like SpaceX's Falcon 9, it lands back on a platform in the ocean.
I see.
That reusability is key to making space more accessible and affordable.
That aligns perfectly with Blue Origin's philosophy. It's about making space accessible for everyone, right?
Exactly. Bezos envisions a future where launching payloads into orbit becomes as routine as shipping packages.
Really democratizing access to space.
And he thinks this will spark a renaissance in space entrepreneurship.
A renaissance, so companies of all sizes could tap into the resources and opportunities of space.
Precisely. Now, let's switch gears to something anyone can apply, regardless of their field. Bezos's day one philosophy.
Okay, I'm familiar with that term.
It's all about avoiding complacency, staying hungry, challenging the status quo.
So it's more than just avoiding stagnation. It's about continuous renewal.
Exactly. That constant pursuit of improvement is crucial for long-term success.
I see. Always striving to be better.
And a key part of that is what he calls a skeptical view of proxies.
Proxies.
It might sound abstract, but think of it this way. You might use something like customer returns to gauge customer satisfaction.
Right.
But that's just a stand-in for how happy customers truly are.
A proxy, yeah.
The danger is that these proxies can become disconnected from the reality they're supposed to represent.
So they might not give you an accurate picture.
Exactly. They might lead to bad decisions. Bezos stresses the importance of constantly questioning your metrics.
Makes sense.
Make sure they still align with your goals. And he tells this great story about calling Amazon's customer service line himself.
What? He did that himself?
To test the reported wait times. The data suggested short waits, but he experienced a much longer delay.
Wow, that's commitment to finding the truth.
It's a reminder to seek the ground truth, even when it contradicts what you think you know.
Especially when it contradicts what you think you know.
It reminds me of another one of his sayings, when the data and anecdotes disagree, the anecdotes are usually right.
Interesting. So it's not about ignoring data, but realizing it can be incomplete.
Exactly. Sometimes those firsthand stories reveal insights numbers alone can miss.
That reminds me of the importance of qualitative research alongside quantitative data.
And that's really about taking a balanced approach to decision-making. Now let's talk about delighting customers.
Customer delight, yeah.
Bezos has been laser-focused on this throughout his career.
Absolutely.
He believes in sweating the small stuff, those seemingly insignificant details that can make or break a customer's experience.
So it's not just the grand gestures, it's about the little things too.
It's about removing friction, anticipating needs, making everything feel smooth and enjoyable.
It's about the overall feel of the experience.
He makes a distinction between the big things, which stay consistent low prices, fast delivery.
Makes sense.
And then there are what he calls paper cuts.
Paper cuts.
Those tiny annoyances that add up to frustration, like an extra click during checkout, a confusing menu.
Like I see, the things that make you go, ugh, really?
A classic example of eliminating these paper cuts is Amazon's Buy Now with one click button.
Oh, that's a good example.
It revolutionized online shopping, removed all that friction from checkout.
It made buying online faster, easier, more enjoyable even.
Bezos highlights the need to make online experiences smooth, intuitive, and even enjoyable. It's about anticipating the customer's needs and making their interactions feel effortless.
Right.
Effortless.
And with AI, he sees the potential to take this even further. He hinted at Alexa getting a lot smarter.
Oh, that's intriguing.
A future where AI anticipates our needs and enhances our lives in ways we can only imagine. This glimpse into the future of AI-driven customer experiences is exciting. It makes you think about how AI will reshape how we interact with technology. But maybe we'll dive into that a bit later.
Yeah, it's a really compelling vision. This future with AI is so integrated into our lives. But it also raises some questions, doesn't it, about human agency, you know? What happens to our own abilities as AI gets more powerful?
Right, and Bezos actually touches on that. How the tools we use can literally rewire our brains.
That's kind of scary when you think about it.
In this world of constant notifications and bite-sized content, we need to be mindful.
Totally.
The impact it has on our attention spans, our ability to think deeply about complex things.
Yeah.
Bezos is a big advocate for what he calls long attention span things.
Yeah, like what?
Books, long-form podcasts, even the very process of invention.
Makes sense. He sees those as a counterbalance to our increasingly fragmented attention spans.
Exactly. It's a challenge for all of us to make space for those activities that require real focus.
It is, especially in this hyper-connected world we live in. But the fact that Bezos can seamlessly switch between building these multi-billion-dollar businesses and pondering the future of humanity in space,
Yeah, it's pretty inspiring.
it suggests it's a challenge we're taking on.
And it's not just about personal fulfillment either. Bezos argues that deep thinking is crucial
Oh, I agree.
for good decision-making, solving complex problems, creating a better future,
It's about resisting the easy answers.
and embracing that messy, iterative process of exploration and discovery.
Speaking of messy and iterative, Bezos's leadership style is all about decisiveness and speed.
Interesting. You wouldn't think those two go together, messy and fast.
He wants Blue Origin to be the world's most decisive company, making bold choices quickly, even when there's uncertainty.
But space exploration is complex,
Yeah.
risky. You'd think you'd want to take your time with decisions.
Well, Bezos believes that moving quickly is ultimately more effective than getting stuck in endless analysis.
So even if it means making mistakes along the way.
Exactly. He uses this great analogy, one-way doors and two-way doors.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
One-way door decisions, those have irreversible consequences. They need serious thought.
Right.
But two-way door decisions, you can always go back and change them if you need to.
So you're saying Bezos believes those should be made quickly.
Exactly. Don't overthink it.
That's a really useful framework for decision-making.
It balances caution with agility.
Yeah, it acknowledges that not all decisions are created equal.
And here's another thing about Bezos. He's not afraid to admit when he's wrong.
Huh. That's refreshing, especially for someone in his position.
He embraces what he calls disagree and commit.
What does that mean?
It encourages respectful debate and helps teams move forward, even when there isn't total agreement.
That's so important, especially these days.
Yeah.
We can't expect to be right all the time.
Right. And it's about recognizing the value of different viewpoints, even if you don't fully agree.
Finding a way to move forward together.
For Bezos, this ability to make decisions quickly, learn from mistakes, adapt to change, it's all part of staying in that day one mindset.
It's like applying the scientific method to decision-making, isn't it? Form a hypothesis, test it, adjust based on the results.
Exactly. And Bezos applies this to everything, not just business, but life in general. But it's not just about speed and efficiency.
No.
He's a big believer in building a culture of truth-telling.
Well, that's essential, especially in large organizations.
Okay.
Hierarchies can stifle dissent sometimes.
He has specific strategies for encouraging this in meetings. For example, he always speaks last
Why is that?
to avoid swaying people's opinions. And he makes sure the more junior team members get to speak their minds first.
So it's about creating a more level playing field,
Creating a space where ideas can be debated openly and honestly.
regardless of your position in the company.
Exactly. And it's not just about making better decisions, it's about fostering a culture of learning and growth.
It's the idea of a growth mindset, right?
Embracing mistakes, acknowledging weaknesses, constantly seeking feedback.
Recognizing that setbacks are inevitable, but they can be valuable learning experience.
Let's circle back to space exploration for a minute and talk about Blue Origin's lunar ambitions.
Yeah, they're quite ambitious.
Besides their partnership with NASA on the Artemis program, they're also developing their own lunar lander, the Blue Moon.
I've heard of that. It's designed to carry cargo, and eventually even humans, to the lunar surface.
Exactly. But Blue Origin's vision goes beyond just putting humans back on the moon.
Oh, what else do they have in mind?
Bezos talks about using the moon as a hub for research, resource extraction, even manufacturing.
Wow. So it's a stepping stone to further exploration of the solar system.
He talks about using lunar regolith
Regolith, that's the loose, rocky material on the moon's surface, right?
to create building materials, solar cells, even extract oxygen for breathable air and rocket fuel.
So turning the moon into a self-sustaining outpost, that's fascinating.
It's about establishing a permanent human presence beyond Earth.
A real step toward becoming a true spacefaring civilization.
Bezos acknowledges he probably won't walk on the moon or Mars himself, but he sees Blue Origin as laying the foundation for future generations to make those dreams a reality.
That long-term perspective is really something. He's not just thinking about himself or even his own lifetime. He's thinking about the impact he's leaving behind for generations to come.
It's a good reminder that we all have a role in shaping the future. And speaking of shaping the future of space exploration, we can't ignore the relationship between Blue Origin and SpaceX.
Right, there's definitely some competition there.
While there's a sense of rivalry, Bezos emphasizes that space is vast. There's room for multiple winners.
It's a really important point. It suggests a future where competition and collaboration can coexist,
Driving innovation, accelerating progress towards shared goals.
and embracing a more expansive view of what humanity can achieve in space.
And it was interesting to hear him talk about Elon Musk with a sense of admiration.
Yeah, he seems to genuinely respect what Musk has done with Tesla and SpaceX.
It shows that even in a competitive environment, acknowledging each other's strengths is important.
It signifies a shared understanding that the ultimate goal is bigger than any one company's success.
It's about pushing humanity forward, expanding our horizons, unlocking that potential that lies beyond Earth.
It's incredible that both Bezos and Musk have this deep belief in innovation as a way to solve big challenges.
And create a better future.
They may have different approaches, different styles, but they're both driven by a similar purpose.
They want to make a real impact.
And that shared sense of purpose is powerful.
It's something we can all learn from.
Identify problems that matter. Commit to finding solutions. Pursue your goals relentlessly, even when you face setbacks.
It's about maintaining that day one energy.
That insatiable curiosity, that unwavering belief in human ingenuity to make the impossible possible.
That's perhaps the most inspiring part of Bezos' journey. From a Texas ranch to the frontiers of space, he's living proof that we can achieve extraordinary things if we dare to dream big, take risks, and never stop learning and growing.
And another key takeaway is the importance of long-term thinking. Investing in the future, even if the rewards aren't immediate. Recognizing that our actions today shape the world for generations to come.
That's a really thought-provoking point. As we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what are your thoughts on that idea of long-term perspective? How do you see it playing out in your own life and work?
Yeah, it's a constant challenge, isn't it? Trying to keep that long view in mind. But hey, let's shift gears back to artificial intelligence for a moment.
Yeah, sure.
Bezos seems to have this really interesting perspective on AI. He sees it as this game changer, something that can enhance our lives,
Right.
but also bring about new challenges.
He definitely acknowledges the potential risks.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think he's pretty optimistic about how AI can help us solve some of humanity's biggest problems.
Yeah, it is refreshing to hear someone approaching this incredibly powerful technology with a balanced view, seeing both the benefits and the need for responsible development.
Exactly. It's not all doom and gloom or blind enthusiasm.
He even drew this parallel between the development of nuclear weapons and the rise of AI. Oh, wow, that's a pretty heavy comparison.
Urging us to approach these powerful technologies with a sense of responsibility and foresight.
It's a good point. Thinking about the potential consequences of unchecked technological advancement.
He's not saying we should stop developing AI,
No, of course not.
but he is emphasizing the need for careful, ethical considerations.
As we move forward into this uncharted territory, right?
And he made this interesting comment about how AI, at least in its current form, is more about discovery than invention.
What do you mean by that?
We're still in the early stages, figuring out what it can do, exploring its potential.
Right, we're still learning its limitations too.
It's this dynamic field, constantly evolving.
Yeah.
Who knows what incredible breakthroughs are still to come? And speaking of breakthroughs, remember how we talked about Alexa getting a lot smarter?
Yeah, he hinted at that.
It makes you imagine a future where these AI assistants are seamlessly integrated into our lives.
Like completely in the background, anticipating our needs, making our lives easier, more efficient.
A world where technology just fades away.
That's an interesting thought. Both exciting and a little unnerving, you know.
It does make you think
Yeah.
about privacy, autonomy, even the nature of human connection in a world where we're increasingly interacting with machines.
It's a whole new landscape to navigate.
But I think that's the beauty of these conversations. They challenge us to think critically about the future and how we want to shape it.
Absolutely. And Bezos' journey, it's really a testament to a few key things.
Amelia.
That relentless curiosity, that willingness to make bold decisions, that deep commitment to building a better future.
Powerful stuff.
And it's a reminder for all of us to cultivate that day one mindset.
Never stop learning. Keep asking questions. Push the boundaries.
Exactly. It's about believing that what seems impossible today might be achievable tomorrow.
So well said. And for everyone listening, as you reflect on Bezos' insights, here's something to think about. In a world where algorithms and instant gratification are everywhere, What conscious choices can you make to cultivate deeper thinking, to nurture your own long attention span, to resist those distractions? Because that ability to focus, to think critically, to grapple with complexity, those skills are going to be more valuable than ever. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.